With Ian Happ possibly out opening day, what do the Cubs do from here? Let's go.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thank you for being part of the show and making Locked On Cubs your first listen today. And the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, like the video, and comment anything below. Let us know in the comments section. In Ian Happ's possible season opening absence, who should play left field? Today's Monday episode is presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel. New customers join today. You'll get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. A mild left hamstring strain. That's the words out of Cubs camp this weekend. That will keep left fielder Ian Happ out of action for an unspecified amount of time. The Cubs are optimistic Happ will be ready for opening day, but manager Craig Counsell did point out Happ will need to return to spring training game action in order to do that. Sam, we've discussed Happ at length on this show for better or worse, but he's a steady presence. He's a steady at-bat day in and day out, and there'd be certainly something to fill there if he's out.
Well, first of all, I'd like to welcome you back to our program. It's great to see you again. I didn't have the best of weekends, but it's good to see you back in the fold, and it's good to see the Iowa Hawkeyes with a little NCAA tournament life on the men's side, and the Illini took care of business. And look, let's jump in. There's a lot. This is a packed show today.
It's a lot.
And there's this idea going around Locked On Cubs Nation, if you will. Shout out to that nation.
We have our own nation now.
That you and I dislike two-time Gold Glove Award winner Ian Happ.
That's out there.
That is out there, and it's not correct. Look, I used to be one of Ian Happ's biggest supporters. I used to beat the drum for him in 2018-19, and then he had that breakout in 20 in the shortened season. The reason why I have come down on Ian Happ is I had high hopes for him as a star. And what he did was he adjusted his swing path. And I know people are going to roll their eyes at this, but what he did was he shrunk his ceiling, he raised his floor. He's been able to get to a lot more pitches. He doesn't strike out as much, but in doing so, he's hitting a lot more ground balls. His power's limited, and he's kind of just turned himself into a nice player. Right. And there's nothing wrong with a nice player. But when you had high hopes for somebody to be like a major star, that it's a little bit, frustrating. But yes, Ian Happ will be a big loss for this team if they have to put him on the 15-day DL or IL to open the season. He is one of their steady presence. He is one of their solid B players that, don't grow out on trees. But at the same time, this is a depth strength for the Cubs. They have a lot of potential people that could fill that gap. Craig Counsell made it public over the weekend that Mike Tauchman was already shared that he's going to have a 26-man roster spot on this team. He'd be the most logical guy to slate in for Happ, and then a DH spot would be open if Morel wins the third base job. Maybe Mastro wins the third base job versus righties, Morel DH, Tauchman and left. Canario will be another guy that could make the roster if Ian Happ goes on the IL. So there's a lot of options to replace him. So I don't think this is a sound the fire alarm. These injuries unfortunately happen a lot in spring training, especially the soft tissue ones. Suzuki had an oblique last year.
That's right.
But I think the Cubs will be able to withstand it if he has to miss time.
Yeah, I like the point about the depth because that's one of the more crowded spots in the whole system. When I first heard the news over the weekend, the biggest part that's worrisome is that there's no timetable, which, this early in the spring still, only a week even into games, I understand that, but that's going to be the sole reason he would actually play on the 28th of this month, according to counsels. If he's able to play a handful, maybe 3 would be the minimum amount of games he would need to return to in order to be ready on the 28th, which we're counting down more towards as we will later in the show. I do think Talkman and Canario are they're the 40-man options for left field, and they're likely the most competitive ones as well. Those guys were going to be in the DH rotation, as you stated. So if Morel can play third frequently, then that will help if Happ is absent to start the year. I like the Mastros shout out. He looks like he bulked up in the offseason. Right?
And he hit a home run on Sunday.
I mean, I think he's doing good things.
Well, I think he's a better baseball player than Nick Madrigal.
Yes. Could that be an episode lead this week?
It could be
a little bit light. So, Mastro, the most conservative projection for the opening day roster does have, Talkman's confirmed now, but it does have Mastro and Madrigal on it, in my opinion. We'll do that later this week. But I think David Peralta is an outside candidate too. Although, as we'll hear about next segment, where's he been?
Yeah.
He has not appeared.
Right.
There's a handful of dudes. Don't know where they are. Gonna have to find them in their Waldo uniform.
The last time I saw David Peralta live, he had a walk-off single when I was at Shabazz Ravine in April.
And then the even further outside shot, just because here in the Locked On Cubs Nation, as we're apparently calling it now, although I think I like Universe better. No, Nation's more sportsy. But in the Locked On Cubs Nation, just to be thorough, but please, folks, don't get too hung up on this. But another outside option, Sam, would be Cody Bellinger in left, Pete Crow Armstrong in center.
Yeah, I just don't see it, Matthew.
I don't either.
PC, you can't miss out 3 balls in the sun. I think he needs a little bit more.
You're down on PCA.
Well, no, I just think he needs a little more seasoning.
Yeah, seasoning's a good term, and we could have used some on our chicken earlier, but
yeah, I think he needs a little more seasoning, and the Happ thing stinks. I think typically it's probably about a 2 to 3 week injury, and it's gonna be an interesting timeline because you don't want to
that's cutting it close.
You don't want to start opening day a guy short, but you also don't want to IL him for 15 days if he's going to be ready by like game 3. So
right.
It's going to kind of be tricky.
Yeah, I wonder if the backdate rules would be.
Yeah, I wonder what the backdate rules would be too. With Happ, I don't really recall him ever having an injury like this. Like some guys, are faster healers than others. Mm-hmm. I don't really know. Like Happ really hasn't been hurt much.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I hope he's, Texas is a good ballpark for him to hit too. It's a good hitter's park. Right. So I'd like to see him back. You don't want to be a guy short. Like you said, we have some, issues with Happ is, not reaching his full potential, but he's still a guy, want to see. And I really want to see him leading off. I really was excited for him to be the first batter of the season, because if he doesn't lead off on opening day, you're probably going to see Talkman there.
Yeah, I think it's time to maybe draft some other lineups. I do think Talkman would be there in left. The other option would be Horner, but he'll probably go against the lefty Andrew Heaney on Saturday night or Sunday afternoon, whenever that will be, down in Arlington. But, the backdate rules would be good to look into, because then you're saying maybe he would return game 10, which would be the start of the road trip.
Yeah, right.
On that Monday in April there, that second Monday in April. I think, 9 or 10 games without him in the grand scheme, that's part of the reality of baseball. And he's been someone that's been durable. So my doubts about him returning well are very, very strong. I don't have, or very little, I should say. I don't have any qualms about him coming back healthy. It's just a matter of now figuring out this timetable. So
and you want to be careful at Wrigley in April with soft tissue stuff.
Yeah. So maybe he
Cold.
does come back that first
Yeah.
Monday on the West
We'll see.
Coast.
We'll see how it goes. Maybe it's very mild, and maybe you see. I mean, what is it? March 3rd, March 4th. You could see him in a spring training lineup March 18th, and he's good to go. So,
Well, that'd be great.
I'd like to see some of our regulars, hit a home run soon. So,
Well, let's talk about spring training coming up next, including Shota Imanaga's Cubs spring debut. Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams, and men's and women's college basketball as well, with quick bets, live same game parlays, exclusive props, and more. Caitlin Clark set the all-time scoring record Sunday. Will the Iowa women get a #1 seed? Right now, they're projected on the #2 line. On the men's side, Iowa's still in the hunt, but Illinois, could they get as high as a 3 seed, Sam, or maybe more likely a 4? Which Selection Sunday, only 2 weeks from our recording time.
Tuesday night, they host Purdue at Assembly Hall. Or
wow,
State
really?
Farm Center. Yeah, it's one of the biggest games maybe in the last 10 years.
We should bring on Bobby Riddell.
Right.
To preview that contest, part of the Locked On Cubs Nation. Wow, you really started something with that. Yeah. Visit FanDuel.com/Locked On and shoot your shot. FanDuel, official partner of the Locked On Podcast Network. Shota Imanaga had his Cubs spring debut on Saturday, allowed 3 runs on 3 hits in 2 1/3 innings pitched. No walks, 5 strikeouts, no groundouts, and 2 flyouts. He didn't show all of his pitches, Sam, but I don't think he needs to on March 2nd. And let's start there on the weekend with the Japanese southpaw.
Yeah, I thought, it was the full Imanaga experience in terms of things you're excited about and concerned about, right?
Yeah.
He generated a ton of whiffs, especially up in the zone. He struck out future Hall of Famer Freddie Freeman on a pitch up in the zone. It looked really good. But then, when his fastball got timed up or he faced one of those type of hitters, he gave up a ball, a home run ball that almost landed in my parking lot over there. So, that's the concern. The good news, and this is obviously just early days. Yeah. Good news, looks like the whiffs were translating at a nice high clip. I mean, I don't care if it's spring training. I don't care if it's Christmas Eve. I don't care if it's Halloween. When you strike out Freddie Freeman,
4th of July.
When you strike out Freddie Freeman, it's good. Okay.
Yeah.
He's very good at hitting the baseball. Okay. So, people that stink don't do that. So it was good to see that. So that carried. But then, of course, the home runs are a concern. And that's always going to be what he has to toe the line of and make adjustments so he doesn't give up, 30-plus home run balls. If he could keep his home run total in the low 20s or under 20, he's going to have a nice season, a very nice season in a Cub uniform.
Well, of course. And all the discussion from the weekend was the fastball up. I'll continue to look into that. And I know there's been some criticisms of that, but that's one of his strengths. And he seems to know himself really well. He knows his pitch mix really well. And I'm excited to see how that translates. I don't have any concerns right now. I don't think Locked On Cubs Nation should be concerned by any means based on 1 or 2 pitches that he made.
Oh, gosh.
And you could start adding that to the bingo card.
What did I do?
And let's see as he reveals more of his mix too in his next couple starts. The other thing for me is, does he pitch in 5 or 6 days? Just a small thing to keep tabs on there as well.
The guys that work up in the zone, the guys that try and take advantage of launch angle, there's a lot of success stories, but you worry about, a Michael Kopech situation, giving up a bunch of homers, or
right.
Lynn or Alex Manoah, right? So you just want him, the thing I'm going to be watching the rest of spring when Imanaga is out there is how many innings can he go and keep the ball in the yard? because if he keeps the ball in the yard, he's going to be fine. And when I say that, he's not going to be Justin Steele. He's going to give up his fair share. But, is it one an outing and is it a solo job, or does he give up 5 in 3 innings? He's going to have to really manage that. If he does that, he will be successful because everything else checks all the boxes. He's not going to walk a bunch of people. He misses bats. A lot of people weren't thrilled. I like what I saw from him. Hendricks didn't have it on Sunday afternoon.
Right.
He was hitting guys, walking guys.
That's good. What is his spot in jeopardy? I mean, what are we going to do?
No. Right. And that's what I'm saying. And get that stuff out now and then sharpen it up as we get closer to Selection Sunday.
Although I do want to try something for this Friday if they're, pending breaking news or storylines this week.
Are you insinuating that the Chicago Cubs are still live for the Southpaw Jordan Montgomery?
Yeah, well, that's going to be for Tuesday's episode. Should they go over the text?
Got it. Well, yeah, they should.
But we're going to do something called Overreaction Theater later this week.
That's why I do that without being told, apparently.
Yeah, you do.
A lot of people say I do that. So
also from this weekend, the
Warriors lost by 50 today.
The prospects continued to shine, especially Owen Casey and Matt Shaw.
Yeah, and those guys aren't going to make the opening day roster, folks. They're not going to do the service.
Not.
They're not going to have the service because I get a lot of tweets like this.
Okay, all right, let's hear about it.
So I just want to say, I love the way Owen Casey's hitting. He's not going to make it. So hopefully he'll come up at some other time
this summer.
Craig Counsell doesn't seem like he really is overly concerned with spring training whatsoever.
No, he's very subdued regarding it.
I mean, he gave Talkman a roster spot before it started.
Yeah. Well, but he sees value in him.
As he should.
The veterans have the priority to start the year. That's just how it is in baseball.
Right.
What else do I have here? Encouraging appearance from Leiter on Saturday.
Finally found the splitter a little bit.
Found the splitter, scoreless with 2 Ks.
Hey, can we shout out Brad Wick? It's nice to see him back on a major league mound.
I do have him in my notes, Sam.
Yeah.
There's a lot of relief pitch. Right now, there's a dozen relief pitchers who have thrown at least 2 innings and not allowed a run. And the lefty Brad Wick on his comeback trail from a couple major operations, if I remember correctly.
Major.
He is one of them. He's looked great in his 2 innings. Jose Cuas has looked really solid. Luke Little, Hector Neris. There's 4 guys who haven't allowed a hit in multi-innings. Wick, Little, Julian Merriweather, and then Carl Edwards Jr., who, again, when we talk about veterans,
he's got a chance.
Don't be surprised if he makes it as a veteran.
And then on the offensive side, David Bodie continues to hit. Maybe he's auditioning for another ball club.
Absolutely.
And they'll give him a chance. And
Mervis is getting on base a lot.
Mastro hitting 417 in the young months of spring. Alcantara hit a home run. That was nice to see.
That's right. PCA's playing well offensively.
Yeah, just got to catch the ball there on the sun.
Players who haven't played yet, excluding Bellinger, Sam.
Who I believe is Bellinger going to play. Bellinger going to play Monday or Tuesday?
I think he's playing Wednesday.
Got it.
David Peralta has not played yet. No word on if he's playing ever. Dom Smith and Garrett Cooper haven't played yet, but they're playing Monday. And then Yency Almonte, nowhere to be found.
Right.
He has not pitched yet.
Interesting.
So that's a little bit of a concern of mine as someone who makes rosters in his free time. So we'll see about that. I thought conservatively, my first projection will be conservative, like I mentioned earlier. I would have Almonte in that last Penn spot just because of the trade this offseason. But if I never see him, then I'm not going to put him on there.
Yeah, no, I agree. And remember, it's like deja vu. We had this conversation about 2 guys last year at this time. Do you remember who they were?
I don't.
Keegan Thompson.
Oh.
He started very late, and Lord knows what happened with him. And then Hughes.
Brandon Hughes.
Yeah, he had like some shin splints or something, or some knee issues, and he's gone. So,
wow, interesting.
Yeah,
there's no way Peralta makes it over like a Canario, right?
I wouldn't say there's no way. Like you said,
Right.
veterans are veterans, and they signed the guy for a reason. I'm interested to see the Cooper thing because we haven't seen a ton of wisdom
Totally.
either.
Yeah, so Wisdom's out with the quad. He's going to be back Tuesday.
That's right. He had the minor injury.
Yeah.
Joe Hudson's hitting the ball well.
Okay. Are we just going to, we should do another segment where we just read spring stats.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, he looks great, man.
Does he though? Does he look great?
Well, I don't listen. The guy's hitting
And
500.
Not you could be the judge for Locked On Cubs Nation, but this is my first show, I think, in 2 months, clean shaven.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything.
So speaking of,
the audience knows how I feel about you clean shaven.
Right.
You know how I feel about you clean shaven, but it's your life, it's your face, it's your body, and you have the right to do what you want with it, man.
Oh, very good. Coming up next, the opening day countdown. Number 24, ring a bell?
Oh.
Let's do that next. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. You shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event. Like, for example, I asked Sam, hey, you interested in going April 6th against the Dodgers? To which he replied, have to wait for a 7-day forecast. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. See the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. You find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed with Game Time. We're back here on Locked On Cubs as we count down the days until opening day. We are taking a look at players in Cubs history who wore that jersey number. We're only 24 days until March 28th. Cody Bellinger wears 24 now. There's also Cubs legends Jonathan VR, Jock Peterson. Just kidding.
I believe Lou Brock wore 24.
Lou Brock, before he was traded, wore 24. And then I have five other names here.
Marlon Byrd. Luis Valbuena. Are these two of your five names?
Yeah.
Dexter,
these are all in our era. Since,
Dexter Fowler.
Right.
Dexter Fowler.
Yeah.
Craig Kimbrell.
He did. Yeah. But he wasn't I have like multi-year guys on here, but yes, he did wear it.
I don't think I know the rest of them.
All right.
Can you give me a hint? Can you give me a hint?
Sure. Hank White.
Oh, come on. That's not a hint. You gave me his name. Henry Blanco. I would have got there. Come on, man.
What would be a hint for him? Backup catcher?
Backup catcher when we were younger, dude. And you know what?
All right, here's another.
I want to pick a bone really quick. I know it's not the time for this, but that Illinois-Purdue game's on Peacock.
Well, they've been doing a lot of Big Ten games.
But this is one of the biggest games of the season.
Right. Well, that's on NBC.
I got to figure out. We just
called them out on our airwaves. So, all right, backup outfielder, left-handed. Early to mid 2000s.
Early to mid 2000s, backup left field. Oh God, is it Tom? Do I have it?
Yeah,
I think I got his autograph when I was in spring training. Tom Goodwin.
Yeah, Tom Goodwin. You're good.
I remember I got his autograph when I was a kid in spring training. I was hoping for Sosa.
Barring any news out of camp on Monday, we are going to discuss for Tuesday about the Cubs and the tax. Get into what Fangraph says, Spot Track, sites like that. If you look at either of those, they're about 3 to 4 M's. or less to the luxury tax threshold. The first one, that is. But Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell are still out there.
Yeah, we're not.
And with the AAV that Matt Chapman got over the weekend.
Yeah, we didn't. You know what? Let's do a quick 45-second blurb on that. 3 years, 54 for Matt Chapman. I like Morrell and the whole thing. I'm not going to lie to you. If you told me that was the deal before free agency, I would have jumped all over it. I really would have. I'm sorry. Like there's no commitment there. You move Morrell to DH. I understand you're stunting his growth a little bit by doing so, but what an attractive infield that is with Chapman, Swanson, Horner, and whoever's over there at first. And you're only paying him what? $18 million a year, and he's probably gone after year one.
He has an
anyway.
opt-out, right?
Yeah, I would have jumped. I'm just, I'm not criticizing. I know that someone's going to write a review. I'm the worst person ever. I just want to say I would have taken that. Okay, I would have, but that's all right. And congrats to the Giants.
Well, great summary.
Yeah, he easily could hit 30 home runs and win the Platinum Glove Award winner, and he's gonna be making below market value. So,
well, if Jordan Montgomery seriously gets an AAV under 20 M's, I'll be frustrated with that.
Well, the thing is just like if Morrell doesn't win the job, and it is, with all due respect, our buddy Mastro or Madrigal, you really would have liked to spend that on Chapman then.
Right.
So,
would have been nice.
We'll see. Time will tell.
Morrell's looking good right now.
Yeah.
He's looking better.
Yeah. I would say that.
Better.
I agree with that. Well, I gotta watch a little more closely. It's hard. These games are 2:05 every day. So
thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. You give us 20 to 30 minutes. We'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube, smash the like button for the algorithm, and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.
welcome back, Matt.
There is momentum happening here.